these things in our own subjects, our own teaching. So it's really a kind of learning from each other, and that is the main motto of the AICT, ATAL, and the UGC also. Even the ICSR have mentioned many times that when you think of project, when you think of any workshop or FDP or seminar conferences, it should be interdisciplinary. You may be good, you may be master of your own subject, but it's really great, it's really good that if you introduce something from other subject and enter into other subject and bring that subject into your own subject, so it would be a kind of synergy effect. So
Yes, sir.
thank you
Yes,
very
sir.
much, ma'am. Thank you very much for joining us, and really you
Thank you,
motivated
sir.
us, inspiring us for organizing such kind of program.
Yes,
So
sir.
now
Thank
I
you.
hope
Thank you.
Principal Madam has joined us. Madam, good morning, Madam. Welcome.
Good morning, ma'am.
Madam, unmute your mic, Madam.
Ma'am, unmute yourself.
Good morning, Mr. Zaid. Welcome. And good morning, everyone else, all teachers, all students, all participants.
Good morning, ma'am.
I was just listening to what was being said, and I have a little more to add. But I do want to formally thank ATAL scheme, AICTE scheme, and these are national programs. Actually, they are national schemes, and we are proud and happy to be conducting and organizing this program in collaboration with them. I want to therefore thank the team at home. There are some leaders in every team, but the team doesn't exist without all other members. And my thanks to the leading people actually is a thanks to the whole team. My thanks to Dr. Anshu, Dr. Pushpender, to be able to conceptualize, give shape to it, and to have this program, which in many ways is something, I have said it earlier, it brings creativity to the digital program. That is what I can understand, how one can have a pedagogy that is digital, creative, and applicable to the exchange and learning, teaching of knowledge. New field for many of us, though we are now a bit familiar with it. And our whole purpose is to spread the awareness as well as familiarize people with the concepts and the know-how of what it all deals with. And in that, it was with that intention in mind that we had invited Mr. Zaid. And Mr. Zaid, my formal thanks to you for sparing your time and addressing all of us. We are looking forward to your talk. And therefore, this is in a series of talks, and we had our intention was to, of course, focus our students and teachers in Kirori College, but move beyond that. And that is what we have done. And I am hopeful for getting feedback and also comments, suggestions of what more we can do and how we walk the path ahead together. Thank you. Everybody, thank you. A very, very good and enriching day for you. These are my wishes and warm thanks.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you, ma'am. Thank you very much. Dr. Anshu.
Yeah. Good morning, everyone. And good morning, Zaid sir from Malaysia. And we are indeed very fortunate to have you with us today, because looking at your engagement and your specialization and how much work you are doing in this particular field, I'm really, really grateful to you for taking out this time to share with the participants your thoughts and your creative and innovation uh, way of this visual note taking. And sir, I'd like to introduce you to our participants today. A formal introduction. I'm sure you are so much on the digital platforms and the social media that I'm sure if they Google your name, there is so much about you that comes. You know, the blogs and your YouTube videos and so many more things that you are engaged in, which shows your commitment to this entire learning and teaching process. But just to give a very formal introduction, Sir Zaid Ali Alsagoff is a learning innovator specialist and an e-learning expert with 20 years experience in higher education. He is the founder and CEO of AQL Learning Innovation Consultancy, which provides training and consultancy in learning innovation, drawing, visual note taking, educational technology, memory improvement, speed smart reading and thinking skills. He has given over 100 talks and workshops locally and internationally since 2008. He's known for being an innovative, engaging, and inspiring speaker. He has an educational background in psychology, in which he did his bachelor's, and IT, master's in 2013 and 2014. He was ranked among the top 10 most influential people in the corporate e-learning sector for the Asia Pacific region, Bob Little Press and Public Relations. He has also been an AKEPT trainer, member of National E-Learning and MOOC committees under KPM in Malaysia, and is a certified HRDF trainer. In 2019, he was recently appointed as a board member of the UNIK School in Istanbul, Turkey. So with so many accolades to your credit, it is indeed a pleasure and an honor for us at Kirori College and for all the participants in India to be listening to you for this particular session. You are going to be with us for two sessions. The first in which you're going to be telling us about it, and the second session in which you're going to give them some hands-on exercises. Over to you, sir. Thanks a lot. Thank you very much.
Okay. Okay, let me just share my screen. But first of all, of course, I would like to thank the organizers, of course. I really appreciate for having this opportunity to be here. And let me just get the chat. Sorry. Okay. Okay, the chat. Can you see my screen, my full screen? Can everybody see my screen?
Sir. Yes, sir.
Okay.
We can see.
Yeah, so first, of course, I would like to thank very much the organizers and the principal, of course, and the team, especially Dr. Anshu. I'm not sure the rest of the full names, but I've actually attended yesterday and the initial day I joined in. So I've got the feel of the participants and so on. It was very interesting. And it was very interesting yesterday. Talk about storytelling, mind mapping, and pedagogical new methods. So I think today it will be very much an add-on or looking from a different angle, but it will be very much in. But I will try to actually also focus a bit on design thinking specifically. I think that's very important because the program is about design thinking. So we will look actually at the design thinking process and where visual note taking will be relevant there. So I hope that. But first of all, of course, I'd like to say good morning to everyone. And before we start, it's actually going to be hands-on from straight in the next few minutes. I think we're just going to go hands-on throughout. But I would like to, if anybody has anything to draw with, of course, if you have an iPad and stylus is great. But if you have just a piece of paper and a pen or a marker pen or a pencil, it'll be great. Can you please have that? That would be very helpful. Let me just see in the chat so I make sure everybody has that. So just say in the chat that you have everything ready to get going. I don't know why my chat is not showing. Let me just see. Why is my chat not showing?
Yes, they seem to be ready, sir.
Oh, great. Everyone has. Yes. And what we're going to do is when we do the chat thing, I would like, when we do a drawing, I would like everyone to switch on the video and then I will unshare and then we can, what do you call it? We can, everybody show a drawing. Because one thing about drawing is you must be not scared to draw and also not scared to share your drawing. Have fun with it. Think of it as a skill. Okay. 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 So this is basically today's topic. I usually teach visual. One more question. Maybe you can ask, how many of you have attended my workshop before? Have you attended my workshop before? No, because some might have attended. So some things will be a bit similar, but then, because I've given this workshop to at least a few hundred in India already. I think about 400 or 500 already. So some might have attended, but I'm going to look at it from a bit different angle. In the beginning, a bit the same, but then we will move on. So what we're going to do is we are going to look at visual note taking, and then we're going to, but our focus today is on creativity and innovation. I think that's the core theme today. We talk about design thinking. We want our students to be more creative and innovative in terms of not just being creative, but creating value out of their creativity. Okay, so let's have an exercise first. There's a missing blank, fill in the blank. So what, can you describe life in a few words or not? Life is a, what makes life exciting? Let's have in, huh? You can do it, you can say it out loud, but please also enjoy the chat. I would like to see what's going on in the chat here. Why is my chat keep on disappearing? Okay, great. Okay, I got the chat there. Okay, great. Okay. Okay, yes. Exam. Life is uncertain. Life is adventure. Aisha says, Dr. Muto, challenge, beautiful. Okay, we have a lot of interesting roller coaster. There's no right and wrong here. I think this is very important when we have when we talk about creativity, it's more about exploring instead of having one answer. Is about exploration. So life is amazing. Life is beautiful. Life is a game of chess, mystery, surprise. You can see all these creative answers. Life is exploration, is a game. Okay, Prof. Manoj Sharma says life is a game. Neha says full of experiences. Amrit says joy. And then Sheila, so experience. Life is philosophy. Ice cream. Life is, somebody wants ice cream here. Give him, can anybody give Farha Khan and virtual ice cream here? Okay, so let's try this. Education. Now let's switch to education. What is education? Anybody share? So education is what? What is education? I think if we match life and education, how we envision life and education will be full of fun, right? What's stopping us actually? Okay, we got some ice cream here. Empowerment. Education is a pillar of life. It's boring. Kunal says boring. Life is gather information, enlightenment, power. I think we have to have that envision that education is more than, I know we have the administration, we have the quality assurance, we have the curriculum, but education, if we are going to survive in the future, education must be more than boring. It must be more, okay? Is knowledge and source of knowledge, is experience, okay? We are flower education, fragrance, okay? Farah Khan, okay? It's gone from boring to fragile, flowerish. Harish, learning. Sam says lifelong learning. So we have all these, Farah Khan has woken up now from boring to become flowerish and so on. Okay, we say mandatory experience. So you see, that's education. So I think it's very important when we talk about, we are so excited about life, we have to try to find ways to make that education as exciting as we want life to be. I know it's not easy, it's a challenge. Sometimes you have tough subjects and so on. Okay, so now I want to ask you, how many of you can draw or not? How many of you can draw? Yes or no? I can draw, yes. No, no, yes. I've worked with a lot of academic, I worked in a medical university for 7 years. And I worked with a lot of Indian professors and doctors teaching medical, and they were very good in drawing, especially anatomy and so on. So this group, maybe a lot of people can draw, but I think it's very important to realize, I actually, just to share with you now, I started drawing at the age of 42. Again, I mean, I stopped at the age of 12 and I just skipped it for 30 years. I just didn't draw at all. I designed graphics, but I never drew. And then I went back to drawing, which I will reveal to you now why I went back to drawing at the age of 42. And now I'm 47. So 5 years or nearly 5 years I've been drawing. Great. A lot of people can draw. They're confident with the drawing, which is very important because it is an important tool in the teaching and learning process. Okay. So okay. You see this square here? Okay. Let's see this square. Can everybody see this square? Okay. Now this is the challenge. Okay. Remember, we're not doing art. What they're doing for creative innovation. So don't have to worry about your drawings. I want you to have either, if you have an iPad and stylus is great, but if you don't have, you don't need, let's go low tech, but very powerful tech. It's a piece of paper, because this is scalable to every education institution in the world. Mostly, I mean, if they don't have paper, it's very difficult, but they have paper. So I want everyone, if they have a piece of paper and a piece of pen, better if you have a marker pen or a Sharpie or some. So I want you to draw a square in the box, in the middle of the box, okay? So they always say think out of the box, right? So I want you to, from this box, I want you to draw anything. You want to draw in the box, out the box, anything you want, okay? I give you, let's say 1 minute, okay? Draw anything you want, anything. You got 1 minute to draw anything from that box. Okay, so I will draw something too now. I'll draw something, because I have drawn a square here. You can see I'll draw something. I don't know what I'll draw. Okay, let's draw. Let's see if you draw the same thing as me from that box. That would be interesting. I'm drawing with a marker pen just so you can see it. It doesn't have to be so nice. It's fun. Okay, so what we're going to do now is I'm actually going to unshare my screen, stop sharing. And for those who have drawn something, and remember, you have to be a kid again. When it comes to drawing, you have to let go. So I want everyone to, if they can, those who have got the guts, a bit brave. Remember, creativity, you have to be brave, and you have to be, remember yesterday I talked about you have to be not scared to feel that you're failing. So I want you to show your drawing. Everybody can just show your drawing. This is my drawing. See, very simple. So let's see what you draw. Closer, Farah Khan, can you please do closer? I just want to see. Did you draw something like mine? No. What did you draw? Amazing stuff. What did you draw, Farah Khan? I see something, because your paper is very far from the camera. Can you bring it closer to the camera? Okay. Anyone else sharing? Okay, very good. Kunal, very nice, interesting. What is that? Huh? Is that a revolutionary device or?
No, sir. Just
oh, now people. Okay, very nice, very nice. Okay, anyone else want to share? Don't be scared. We have 100 people here. We should have at least one screen sharing. Eh?
Yes, sir.
Oh, I like this one. Dr. Diaganga, you draw a lot of people from in the square. You draw inside the square. Very interesting. Okay, Karshal draw a house, a tree, and sun. And Mad Vendra Singh, what did you draw? A girl. You draw a lady? Very nice. Sarvish draw a stick figure. Very nice. Okay. Anyone else wants to share?
It's mine.
Okay, let's share at one time. For fun, I want to take a screenshot just to have as a memory from this. At least you have a memory from this workshop. Okay. Very nice. Very nice. Okay, okay. Let's do 1, 2. Everybody's scared to share. Come on, just beat that. 1, 2, 3, 4, go. Okay, very good. Very good. Okay, thank you. Thank you. That's you warmed up, let loose. Don't worry, I'm going to get you to draw somehow. We don't have to share. I think it's not so important. You don't have to share. It's not that important to share. Okay, so what we're going to do now is I'm going to screen share again. My slides. Okay, let's go. Okay, here we are. Okay, very good. Thank you for all the participation. And even for those, I'm sure some of you drew, you want to share your drawing, that's fine. Okay. So for this exercise, I don't think Prof. Anshu will make this a requirement, but if you want to share your drawings, I will make it available in the chat box here. Where's the chat box? Huh?
So they can do this if they want.
Yeah, this is not compulsory. This is just for fun.
Yes.
Yeah,
Yes,
they
sir.
upload. I'm making the, sorry, I'm going to dump the link in the chat box, but the chat box keeps on disappearing from me. That's one. Okay, I got it here. I'll make the link available here in the chat box now. Okay. Wait, sorry. I'll make it available. Sorry, it's not coming. I got it now. Okay. This is a place. So any drawings you do, please feel free to share it there. It could be a memory from our workshop. And this idea of sharing, remember, we're not drawing for art. I think this is very important. We're just drawing to share ideas and awaken our creativity. Yeah? So I shared it in the chat box. So if you want to share drawings, if you don't want to share drawings, that's totally fine. But it's good to share drawings, be part of the sharing. Okay. So, okay. So this is the first rule. What is the first rule? It's number 1. Everyone can, let's do it together. Everyone can.
Draw.
What is it? Everyone can draw, okay? It's true that not everyone can be an artist, but everyone can draw, especially for teaching and learning. Because usually teaching and learning, sometimes you go on a whiteboard and you illustrate something, and sometimes just circles and squares put together. The second one is progress comes with
Practice.
practice. Yeah, we have
Practice.
so practice. So yeah, a lot of times people that don't think they can draw, the reason is actually they maybe have not practiced so much. They have not had the patience. Progress comes with patience, true. Yeah. Just try it out, because practice is essential in any skill. Remember, drawing is more of a skill than something that you're necessarily born with. Anyone can draw, as long as you have a bit of a steady hand. You have hands, of course, and you have a bit of steady hand, you can draw. And the last thing which most adults forget, which most kids remember, is to have fun
In class.
Okay, well, beyond class, have fun. What? In the context to have fun
in life.
with practice. Have fun. Okay, everyone can draw. Progress
Have fun
comes
drawing.
with practice. Yes, have
In
fun
life.
in life. Okay, but here in this context, what? Have fun with friends every moment. There, Prof. Anshu, the guru here. Okay, have fun drawing. Yeah. I think that sometimes we forget, especially if you're very perfectionist and judgmental, we're very worried that we'll be judged for our drawing. So I think if you want to improve that as a skill for your teaching and learning and so on and creativity, you have to have fun with it also, not just take everything so serious, okay? So what we're going to do today is we're going to talk about learning. Usually I spend a lot of time on this, but I'm not going to spend too much time on this today because we're talking about creativity and innovation. But we're going to look at how drawing actually impacts learning, and visual note-taking impacts learning. And then we're going to talk about how it impacts teaching. And then we're going to talk about how, now we're going into what we talk about innovation, creativity, how drawing can be used for innovation. And then we're going to talk about visual note-taking. I cannot actually screen share with my iPad today. I don't know why. I tried, but cannot. But I have some videos on how you can use digital drawing, because some people cannot draw with a pen and paper very well. But with digital drawing, I think anyone can draw with a bit of tips and tricks. Okay. And then we're going to talk actually a bit about design thinking, specifically focusing on how you can use drawing to become more creative and innovative in the design thinking process and in life itself. Okay. So learning. So how can we use in terms of learning? Okay. So one of the interesting research that I found one of the reasons I got into drawing is actually I was teaching learning skills. When I was teaching learning skills, very interesting, I discovered that one of the most powerful tools to remember something is actually to draw out what you want to remember. And then I said, wow, and I was not doing it, but I was promoting it. And then as I go along, I discovered more, which I'll share with you. But so one of the things is called actually, let me just use a pointer. It's called the drawing effect. I'm not sure whether you've heard of the drawing effect. I will share with you the slides later in the WhatsApp group. So you'll get the slides, and the links will be on the slides in PDF format. But something called the drawing effect. And what the drawing effect showed was that actually drawing is a very powerful tool, and it's actually for learning to remember something. It's actually found in research better to actually in terms of what do you call it? Let me just hide this. From writing the words, from mental imagery, is thinking about the visual or what you want to remember, and also picture superiority. In other words, just looking at the thing. So drawing it out in a simple form. It doesn't matter how good the drawing was, but to remember something, drawing is actually a very powerful tool just to improve your memory. Okay, but as I started doing research, I discovered so much more about drawing. Why should I draw? And then I found out that it activates the whole brain. It's very good with coming up with better ideas, which is going to be the main focus today, actually. And also for teachers, I discovered many of the best teachers. I will even show you one of the best teachers in India in terms of medical. He will illustrate very much, and he will just use simple things like a whiteboard and a marker pens. A lot of people use PowerPoint. That's good. I'm using PowerPoint now, but actually, what I discovered was some of the best motivational speakers, some of the best teachers, they will illustrate live, or they will illustrate through their content, visualize and so on when they wanted to share. And it's also very good for improving your empathy, taking notes, which is of course visual note taking. And as I mentioned, memory, and also improving your thinking skills. And also we talked about yesterday, digital or storytelling. You remember you had storyboarding. When you do storyboarding, you should be doing some sketches just to come up with the storyboard. So, and also improve your focus and clarity. And this was one of the interesting aspects, was improving your focus and clarity, which is so important today with students that has a low attention span. So these were things I discovered as I was learning the power of drawing. That's what drew me into drawing. And at the age of 42, I decided to focus more on drawing. And the last actually 2 years, I've been promoting it to many schools and universities as a tool to improve your learning, teaching, and innovation skills. And it is an extremely powerful tool. And a lot of people just do it as art, which is fine, but there's so much more to drawing than that, which I will share with you as we go along. Okay, so here are some of the areas where drawing can play an impact, but let's do a guessing game. So what I have here is 9 drawings, different areas in education. I'm not saying my drawings are perfect in terms of illustrating the key fields, but let's see what you can guess. One, okay, I tell you number 5. 5 is art. Of course, drawing is a base of art. If you talk about art, if you're painting, you're sculpting, usually you start with a sketch, so you should be able to draw. But what other fields of areas could drawing play an impact? So let's start with number 1. What do you think number 1 is?
Medical field.
Okay, number 1 is a medical field. Okay, could be. But
And
there's
space.
space. Okay, because he has this big stethoscope.
Someone is
Okay.
trying to
Yeah,
study
telescope.
DNA.
Space science. Okay,
Space research?
it's not about being right and wrong because it's just a drawing. But the first one is actually science. Okay. What about the second one? Think beyond a robot. There's a robot that what?
Robotics.
Robotics, yes, okay, but bigger, wider. What appeal? I mean, this is if you talk about in the field of what?
Yeah,
It's
gadgets,
good to be able to
games.
draw. Is in
Toy.
games. Okay, technology. Technology. Okay, number 3. Automation, yes, but okay, number 3. What about number 3? What is number 3?
Environmental science.
Area of education.
Engineering.
Engineering, yes, engineering. Civil, okay, civil, but engineering, yeah, in general, engineering very popular. Okay, what about number 4? You should know. Everybody should know. I think India is the best country in the world, and it's so that one is too easy. Yeah? Number 5 is art. Okay, what about number 6? Let's do number 6.
War.
This one not so easy. Number,
History.
Look at the characters.
History.
Yes.
History.
Yes, history. So you see a Viking and you see the Roman emperor. Or something. Okay, number 7. What about number 7?
Number 7 is the psychology.
Social science.
Drama. Okay, drama can literature. Yes, something more. Literature, drama is included under environment.
Reading.
Starts with L. L. Okay, literature is true. Drama, yes, but L. Which field?
Moves, phases of life.
Okay, number 8 people ahead of you. Language. Okay,
Imagination.
number 7, language.
Expression.
Imagination. So number 8 already. Somebody is already answering number 8. Yeah, medical medicine. Yes. And then number 9. What is number 9?
Cardio.
Spirituality or related to brain function.
Brain function.
No, heart function, I think so.
Processing.
How to
Finance.
earn money.
Investment.
Finance. Okay, we're getting into it's actually. I'm just using the brain example, but actually it's finance, business, and so on. Yeah. So let's look at the results. Huh? Okay. Let's say so these are the. But my drawing is a bit teasing you, but these are areas where drawing, if you have that skill, you have actually a competitive advantage. If you're doing business, you're doing pitching, sometimes you're presenting something and the investor looks at you and he says, I don't understand your slides, and you're alone, you want to explain something, he doesn't understand your words, then it's a good time sometimes to go on a whiteboard or a smart board and illustrate your idea. So this is where medicine, of course, if you're teaching medical anatomy, anything that requires the body and the heart, the brain, it's good sometimes to illustrate, have that skill is an advantage. In maths is a bit challenging. I'm still exploring, but maths is very powerful. If they cannot learn maths through words and numbers, they can learn maths through visuals and nature. There's so much maths in nature's, everything in nature is maths if you think about it. And same, of course, with science. And one of the things that I liked about science was I was studying Leonardo da Vinci, and I was asking myself, how could he know 500 years ago things that we are still discovering today? And I think one of the reasons was he's one of the few, I mean, I'm sure there's India history. If you go back 1,000 years, there's some, but I haven't read history about him. But one thing about Leonardo da Vinci, he managed to fuse science and art together. He would do art, and then he would look at nature, and then he'll get ideas about helicopters and all sorts of things, right? So this is one of the powerful things about fusions of science and art. And this we'll get back to this. Okay, so that's very good. Had some fun there. I hope you're enjoying this. I forgot. Yeah, I'm going back to this drawing. Okay, when you look at this drawing, I forgot about this drawing. Who do you see here? And all these bits of information, it gives idea who this is in a creative way. A wise man, okay, because he's got a long beard, long hair, wise. Okay, well, who else? Think of something. Look at the little items. Sometimes it looks like just a fun drawing, a lively drawing, but actually, one of the techniques that I like to teach people is you can infuse a lot of knowledge in the drawing, and by remembering the drawing, you can remember so many things that you have learned. This is one technique in terms of memory. So actually, this is actually a fun drawing of Da Vinci, Leonardo da Vinci. Yes, true. Chabi or Sahai. Okay. So if you look at this drawing, now this drawing looks fun, right? But actually in this drawing, I have infused a lot of his great ideas. He talked about parachutes. He talked about tanks. He talked about these, you said it was so inefficient to shoot one, what do you call it? This, not rocket, these bombs, what do you call it? I can't remember the name, but he had a barrel, so he had, instead of shooting one, he will shoot 32. He talked about new ways of shooting weapons. He talked about shields, which you see here. He had this, he talked about robotics. Actually, he had some ideas about using robotics at the 500 years ago. Of course, he drew Mona Lisa. He loved horses. He liked to study the muscles and so on. He even talked about time. He had about these mobile bridges. When you go to war, you had these mobile bridges to cross different rivers and lakes. And also he had talked about smart cities. So in the drawing, I've actually infused many of his great ideas. So this is another creative way to share knowledge, is that you have that in text, but also you have it in a visual. And then students can just remember the visual, and so many things come to their mind. And this is one of the things I teach, to develop long-term memory on things that you have learned. So this drawing, every time I look at it, it brings back memory of things I read about Leonardo da Vinci. Okay. Okay, so let's go here. Okay, wait, okay. So this is an example of a visual note that I took. Remember, visual note doesn't need to look nice. If you think this is nice, if you don't think it's nice, it's fine, but it doesn't have to look nice. But this is just an example that I used. I used this one. I used an iPad and a stylus. Okay. So this one here, I just want to share. This is very interesting, related to your program. So this guy, Prof. Mushtaq in Malaysia, he's a CEO of Heriot Watt Malaysia campus. It's a Scottish university, but they have a campus in Malaysia. He talked about employability in the 21st century, future-proofing your child in an uncertain world. So he had 3 topics, which was very interesting. He talked about academic excellence, which all universities in the world focus on. But he said one of the key things that we need to teach every single student is emotional intelligence. And in terms of multimedia, you need to develop self-management, self-awareness, social awareness, and social relationships, the basis of emotional intelligence, which is so important. And why he said that was because robots have taken care of the physical 100 years ago or more. I mean, now it's, of course, everything physical now, heavy, is taking care of robots and artificial intelligence. But now we have moved to the area, I think the last decade, where the cognitive part, automation, artificial intelligence, and all that is taking over that aspect. So where does the human race live? How do they be a competitive advantage and still be valuable as they graduate. So of course you need the technical skills, but also you need the emotional, because even if robots can fake being caring and having that emotional self-awareness, social awareness, this is something human, very human, that we will still need even 10, 15, 20 years in time. Even if robots can manipulate that, we still need that human touch, which is so important. And the last thing that he focused on was happiness. An idea that it's not something that you just have, you've strategically focused on making students more happy while they study at the university. And by doing that, you do projects, and you talk about helping happiness project, youth transformation project, go global, great dream. And he focused on teaching students gratitude. And how do you develop gratitude is through activities to help people and write down things that people have done good to you. Every day you write down good things that happen to you. So you develop that attitude of gratitude and positive thinking. So this is just an example of a visual note. And I drew this in 2018, and every time I look at it, all these memories comes back. So I'm just showing you the power of a visual note. Not only can it be a self-learning tool, but it can also be a tool to teach others. Okay. So I just want to show you some pictures. I don't know if you know this guy. He's actually the one that recommended to you, is Prof. Ramesh. He used to be very good at drawing, but he stopped for a while, but he started drawing a bit again after I had these are some pictures of places I've gone. This is a school. They don't have, when they do drawing, you see that they're sitting together. These are some of the examples: group drawing. They're drawing the future education. And very important when you do drawing for creativity and innovation is actually, it's not about the drawing itself, it's about the ideas behind it. So you ask students to present, not just to draw, but to present the ideas. That's where the real power comes. I think somebody should mute their yeah, okay. And this is, I did it with students first. This was about 2.5 years ago. I did it with students. And then I went to do it with professors. And then I said, this is really interesting. And they enjoyed it so much. So here I'm doing it with professors. So they are drawing the future of education. This is the top university in Malaysia, University of Malaya, which is one of the top, or is the top university in Malaysia. During a conference, I got some top professors and educators to draw the future of education. And then we went to a workshop and we did it again. And as I said, when we do drawing for innovation and creativity, the drawing is there to make you relax, to make the process fun. And when you're relaxed and fun, you become usually more creative and innovative. And then you present, because the drawing is a memory, but more important is that you present your ideas, not just in text, but you present in a visual format. You can see how when they're presenting, they're having so much fun. This is the top private university in Malaysia, Taylor's University. I did a workshop for the facilitators there. So you can see this was in Turkey, the Turkish school. We've got parents also involved, teachers and parents, and then the teacher, some of the facilitators to talk about the future school. And then I did it with the students there. Very interesting in Turkey. The students are so energetic. And this is from Heriot-Watt University. They had a project, and you can see one thing I like when you do illustration and have fun when you have a project is you can see the way they're presenting. Usually people are very stressed to present the idea, but you can see the faces. They're so into their idea about transforming an aspect of the university. And this is in Singapore, and this is in USM, one of the top universities in Malaysia. And then last year, I started introducing digital drawing, which I do now for teaching and learning. You can see they're drawing their content. This is the first time they're doing digital drawing. This is not something they take from Google Image. This is something they draw themselves. And once you can draw yourself, you can liberate yourself from worry about copyright and all these issues that you have when you're just taking from everywhere and using it for your materials. It takes a bit more time, but once you learn the skill, you realize a lot of things that you're spending all this time looking for content. Now you can spend all this time developing your skill and designing your own content. So there's a question of, there's a lot of free content, that's fine, you use it, but sometimes you need to create your own content. And I think that's, as an educator, not only create your own text, but sometimes your own visuals would be nice if you can do that. And it doesn't require much. I don't think today I can teach you how to draw in details, but that's something that I'm focusing on building a course that I teach all the educators that they can basically draw any content relevant to their teaching and learning. Okay, these are just some more examples, okay? Yeah, this is from, these are some students sharing their ideas. Okay, so that's in terms of learning and so on. So I would like to have a challenge again. Everybody has the piece of paper and pen ready. And we had I usually ask them to draw 4 separate items. But what I'm going to do now, since we have digital storytelling yesterday, why don't you draw these next 4 items into one drawing? Okay, these are the 4 items. Okay, You draw a tree, you draw a house, you draw a robot and a stick figure, and you draw that into one drawing. If you want it all separate, you can. So let's go, okay? Can I just have yes in the chat? So you ready to go? Okay. Okay, great. Okay, so please draw. And remember, you're drawing, when you're teaching, and even if you do language, the drawing has to be simple. You don't have time to draw a complex house or a complex tree, something enough to communicate. Think about that. Huh? So I give you 2 minutes. Let's try. You can do 30 seconds per drawing, per item in your drawing. Okay, let's go. Let me do also, I will draw something while waiting. Keep myself busy. I'm going to draw very simple, okay? Okay, mine got very messy. Okay. Okay, done. Okay, I'm going to stop sharing now, and then I'm going to go back to the camera. So if you want to share it in the Padlet wall, you can. I'll put the link there. But also it'd be nice if you just share it. Everybody can see. If you can see the screen here, very nice, Dr. Shavish. You put the tree. So as I said, I tried to put. Yes, very nice, Marilyn. Marilyn, oh, very nice. The robot. Where's the stick figure? Your stick figure. Oh, there. Okay, the robot is so big. It's going to take over his life. Or and Dr. Farah Khan, very. And I noticed some of you are very shy when you share a drawing. It's not art class, so don't be very happy with your drawing. Doesn't matter being a con. Can everybody share? Very nice. Can everybody else who wants to share? Let's do another. I'm taking a screenshot just as a memory for you guys. We can share with you later. I will share with in the WhatsApp group. Huh? Very nice. Okay. Oh wow, Dr. Diva, the gang are very nice. This is very interesting. Okay, so for those who want to share in the Padlet wall, be great. We will look at as we get later. We will look at the Padlet wall and see. Okay, there's somebody is sharing the screen. Okay, so this is okay. But what is important? What we're going to discuss now is if you can. Oh, thank you, Raja. And if you can, because we have 150, so many people. If you can draw a tree. It's more than a tree. I think this is very important. If you go to class and you draw a tree, and you just as an icebreaker, what can a tree be? Let me just share my screen again. What can a tree be? Let's do that. What can a tree be? Let's see the chat. So what can a tree represent? Because sometimes you just if you draw a tree in a class and you ask the students, what is this? A wise person, okay? Hierarchy, right? And this is the power of drawing when you're using it in teaching. Nature, it could be nature. The tree can represent nature. Yes, right, Dr. Savish. What else can a tree be? Anyone? Life, okay? Pavlin says tree is life, longevity. Nahia Yoshe said loaded with fruits because your life. Tree is a sign of prosperity. Dr. Sandesh says prosperity, very interesting. Pillar, oxygen. Coordination. But see, the tree, when you illustrate a tree, instead of just writing the tree, it can mean so many things. Growth, right? It can be green, symbol of humility. Okay, so this is the power of using visuals in your teaching. You are opening your mind to a lot of discussion and fun. What about a house? What can a house be? Think about the house. What can a house be? Stability, shelter, home, okay? It can be warmth, right? Dr. Diva, warm. Humanity, Dr. Savish. And then Solomon, safety, bonding, protective, love, family, comfort, architecture, strength, civilization, Marilyn. Huh? So many things. By just drawing a house on the whiteboard, you can engage an audience to do so many core. House is a place to develop bonding, family, culture. You can do digital story by just drawing a simple house on the whiteboard, and it's like start a conversation, right? Simulation, love, children, emotion of giving. Okay, very good. See all this great happiness. Okay, nobody says anything negative about the house. Happiness, no sadness, and no stress. Everybody's stuck in the house because of the COVID and all. So it's good. We still have that positive house. Okay. What about a robot? If you draw a robot, can you imagine you go to the class and you start a robot? Say, what is this? You ask the students, what is a robot? Technology, automation. What else? Artificial intelligence. Ugly, reduced work, machine, unemployed. Nobody says unemployment here, but for some, lost your job, the future, a threat. Dr. Farah Khan sees a threat. Yeah. Science, clone, technique, servant, mom. See, by putting a word and putting a visual, it's just a total different thing. And then be able to learn how to draw stick figures, right? Okay, Sunday says robot is characterized by program commands. Okay. Contactless. Okay. Stick figure. Stick figure is one of the easiest things to draw, and it can allow you to do digital or storytelling in class or digital storytelling. This is very important. The power of stick figures, because they're so simple, you can draw them fast and they can do so much, right? As creativity, celebration, right? So you can do anything with a stick figure. So that's why I always tell teachers the first thing you learn how to do in terms of creating a role play and activities in class, draw simple stick figures and start a conversation. Because when you draw on the whiteboard or you show visuals in the class, you create already an environment that people are, it's going to be a bit fun, it's going to be engaging, it's going to be more constructive, it's not so stressed, the teacher is not going to kill me if I answer. Because I think it was mentioned in the yesterday or day yesterday that a lot of students, they're scared to ask or challenge the teacher or to ask things that are to offend the teacher or so on. So this is very important to open up. So illustration is a very powerful tool for that. Okay, let's look at some of the things we're teaching. I show you examples of, okay, we've done this, okay. So this is an example of Miss Dr. Anna Morgan. What she does, okay, these are nice drawings. If you cannot do drawings, you can actually print out and put on the whiteboard or your Zoom screen. Right? So what she does is, she can draw a bit, depending on how many colors, how large it is. She will spend about 15 to 20 minutes before the class starts. She will draw something, and then she'll have this crazy thing like Mad Monday. Then she'll have a question. And this you can do on Zoom or you can do online. And then by asking that question, students will go on the whiteboard and answer their opinion or their idea about that question. For example, here, the Walking Dead Wednesday. How would you survive a zombie apocalypse? And then students will go up and write their answers, right? And then you have Visit Wednesday. So you can have all these things to create, to get students to engage and open up their imagination and creativity. This is one example. Another example, of course, is medical. I think this is very common in India. I think so. I'm not sure. You maybe correct me. But students are required, not just the teacher draw the anatomy, but students are also required to do that. So here's an example of him using just chalk, by the way. I thought nobody uses chalk anymore, but some do. So he's drawing out the body, and then he asked the students to demonstrate drawing. I think that's very powerful. I noticed that in Malaysia, a lot of students just want to memorize anatomy. I think the easiest way to learn anything with the human body is to do simple illustrations of it that activate the whole brain and then becomes more memorable. And here's another example. I think you maybe know if you're medical, Dr. Najib. He claims to be one of the most popular in the world medical lectures. And if you look at what he does, and this is, of course, he's an expert. He's a storyteller. He's fantastic the way he explains. But look, he uses 4 different marker pens. He uses green, red, black, and blue. And he will draw. And he will draw. Some of his lectures are 1.5 hours where people, thousands and thousands of people go and watch them. And you see, this is where you blend the old technology with the new technology. He's just using a whiteboard. He's just using marker pens. He puts a phone or a nice camera and records it and makes it available online. So this is another way of getting some of the top professors in your country, instead of asking them to develop PowerPoint and all that, just let them do it the way they do it, but use modern technology to to record how they share, and they get, because it's so amazing his stuff. And but if you look at individual, it looks very complex, but if you start looking in the details, this is lines, this is arrows, and this, so it's something that anyone can learn with a bit of practice. But it's like Lego, you have to start from A to Z. Okay, so in other words, I share with you now in terms of teaching, you can draw to engage, which is very important. You can draw to simplify. This is one of the most important. Illustrate is to simplify complexity. Something very complex, if you can simplify it through some boxes and squares and circles in a way, that's very powerful. And of course, in the process, if you can inspire students and engage them and bring to that next level to inspiration, that's very powerful. So these are three things I look for when you talk about teaching and drawing or illustration, is that you can engage, connect with the students, simplify complexity, and inspire them to learn. Okay. So that is learning and teaching. So before we go into innovation, I want to ask you, is there any questions or not? This is the time to just, in the chat box, just to ask any questions. If you have any question, this is a good time. If you want to take the mic also, you can at this moment.
Yeah, you can unmute your mic and you can ask question if you have any question.
Sir, I have one question, sir. So
Yeah,
is
sure.
there any website or we can use the images directly? Because most of the time we do this teaching through PPTs and digital media, so we may not be able to draw immediately. So can you use any websites and we can take those pictures to support our whenever we are teaching?
Oh, there are lots, but I will have to share that in the WhatsApp group. If they make me a member of the WhatsApp, I will share with that. Because today I'm actually encouraging to, there are a lot of websites you can find images related to your, I'm not sure particularly your course. But that's not my focus today. My focus is to empower you to develop the skill to actually, some of the things you can actually develop yourself. But yes, there are. I will share with you in the WhatsApp group later. There are websites. There are many websites. Even on Google Image, I can show you. But the thing is, I will share my screen and I will show you how you can do that on Google Image. Let me just go to. I will share with you now. Why is it? Okay. Okay, I'm going to share with you now. So even when you go to Google Image, let me just open a new screen. Do you see my screen now?
Please mute your mic.
Okay, just make it. Okay, okay. Do you see? I'm going to Google. When you go to Google, say that you're looking for the brain. Okay, our brain. I just put brain. Huh? Everybody sees my screen, huh? Can I just have a yes to make sure in the chat? Okay.
Yes, sir.
I click brain, right? A brain. So what you can do here is you go to images, right? You go to image. The problem here is you don't know all these. I mean, most people, what they do is they just take an image, they just steal it, right? But the thing is you have copyright issues and so on, but nobody's going to put you in prison. But if you want to use the materials to publish a book or something, you cannot. But of course, in class, nobody's going to disturb you. Okay. So what you have here is you have something, go to tools. So you go to images, right? You go to tools. When you click on tools, there's actually here, you see usage rights. So you can just click Creative Commons license.
Excuse me, sir.
Your screen is not visible.
Yeah?
Your other screen is visible. Your visual note-taking screen is visible, not the Google screen on which.
Okay, okay. Let me go. Thank you, thank you. I'll share again. I don't know why it's not appearing. Okay. Let me try again. Make sure it's it. Okay. Can you see now? Do you see my Google?
Yes, sir. Yes,
search?
sir. Yes, sir.
Okay. Can you see or not? Everybody sees Google search now? Yes or no?
It's visible.
Okay. Okay. I click brain. So let's say we want the brain. Everybody wants the brain, right? Okay. So I just have the chat. Make sure. Okay. So I look for the brain. So this is what 99% do. They go to the brain. They search. They go to images, right? Of course, this is very nice. I like this very much. But all these are copyright images. So there is a way, even in Google Image Search, to find materials that you can use for sharing even the Creative Commons license. Where you go is to tools. Okay, everybody with me? Images, and then you go to tools. Okay, and then you go to usage rights. You see here? Now it's all right. We do Creative Commons license. Just try Creative Commons licenses. Okay, so you click here. So all these images here are from commons, different areas. So one of the good areas is, so these are images you can actually use, but you have to go and check to be sure. So I go to Commons Wikipedia. This is just an example. So this image you can use. This has, of course, a license. You can read the license, what kind of license it has. An illustration by Rain. Richard. Okay, it doesn't say what license. But the Wikimedia Commons is one website where you can find images, especially for the medical. But the easiest thing to do, I'm just teaching the easiest way to do is, let me just repeat, is that you go to the brain or anything you want to search, you go to images, you go to tools, and then you go to usage rights. Okay, now it's all, so you don't know what you're getting, but when you go to Creative Commons licenses, you get something inside the Creative Commons license. These are images most likely you can use. Of course, you have to double check, but these are, so you can see different websites here. Okay, so that's one way. I'm just sharing with you one way to get images related to your. Okay, so Piss Rice said visual aids are very important medical representing giving detailed presentation, doctors and pharma sales. Yes. Okay, so that's it. So, but today I'm actually I used to be one of the masters of open education resources. I used to do courses, give courses on open education resources, which I think is great. But I realized actually 5 years ago that today we lack, especially in Asia, we lack enough people that create their own content. Nobody, I mean visuals. Very few academics actually create their own visuals today, because it's the easy way. We go to Canva, we go to Google image search, we go to some other website, we just take the materials, fine. But sometimes we don't have personality, especially if we're doing economics, business. There's nothing, everything is just taken from everywhere else. So this is where we want to have more of this originality and personality in our content. And one way is actually to learn the skill to art. And once you can draw, I teach in digital drawing, you can draw some amazing stuff, anything you want. Okay, so now what we're going to do is, let's just get the chat. Innovation. So now we're coming to the area which we're going to spend the next 2 hours. But I'm going to take a break in 10 minutes. We just go for basic, then we're going to take a break. So everybody get a break. Okay. Okay. So who did this? Who drew this? Okay. If
Leonardo
we use
da
images on
Vinci.
YouTube. Leonardo da Vinci. Great. Okay. Now you can imagine if. Okay, great. Okay, Rina and Vivin. Okay. Okay, I just want to answer one question. If we use these images on our YouTube channel, is it objectionable legally? See, the thing is, just to be on the safe side, if you take images, is that you always give credit to the original source. If you're using like the brain, you can put in your slides. That's the minimum you can do, references. So as long as you references, I'm not saying you're legally correct, because some images don't even allow you to use it anyway. So you have to figure that out. But if you references, at least you're trying to, at least you're saying, I didn't do this. I'm just, this great resource comes from this reference and so on. So at least you're acknowledging that it's not your visuals. I mean, you didn't create it. So I think that's the first step. The second step is to be more ethical, is actually to check whether you're allowed to use it and under what conditions. But that's a bit extreme. But this is where I think, because of the easiness to get access to all these visuals, we have forgotten about ethics. We have forgotten about copyright. We just let it because it's so easy, right? But I think, but what I find very scary is that many academics have lost the ability to bring to life their ideas, because they don't know how to visualize themselves anymore. They just reuse friends. So this is something I'm very pushing forward to. Okay. So as Mobile said, acknowledge. So with Leonardo, now I want to say, can you imagine if Leonardo da Vinci could not draw and he had an idea? He just wrote this stuff. Can you imagine? How can you picture something that is not been done before, or not, and it's a spiral, but people try to picture, they have all these weird pictures. Because of his visualization, people get a clearer image of his idea. And I think this is where we want to teach our students and also teach ourselves the ability that when we have ideas, we can create either complex or ideally at least simple illustration of our ideas to communicate, to simplify. I think this is a very important skill that I think in the future is not a requirement, but it's a skill more and more to get that. You want your students to have this competitive advantage to be more successful. And this is one of the skills that is good to have besides programming, maths, and all that, is the ability to bring to life your ideas and imagination. And sketching is the easiest, or drawing is the easiest to do that. You don't have to paint, you don't have to. So this is a very important skill, okay? Imagination is more important than what?
Knowledge.
Okay, who said this?
Farah Khan.
Pardon? Who said this?
Farah Khan.
Okay, Farah Khan. Yeah, maybe, I'm not sure. Oh no, I know you said this. Imagine, sorry.
Okay,
I mean, who said this?
Einstein.
Einstein, yeah. Okay, I mean, he's maybe some other people said it, but actually, yeah, you're right. I tried to draw him in a funny way with his tongue out here. Yeah, he said imagination is more important than knowledge. Okay, and I think in this era where knowledge is so easy accessible, creativity, I keep imagination is more important than creativity. No, I think, but in this context, is knowledge. The reason is, yes, we need to have knowledge and skill, but more, I'm going to show you later how important the ability to think and imagination becomes much more critical than the base knowledge. I mean, you have to have base knowledge, but beyond that, knowledge is with artificial intelligence, is with robotics, is with technology. So you have to have knowledge. Yes, it's true, but more and more important is the skill to think creatively and critically, and so on, becomes more and more critical in this era where everything is, so many things are being automated, and artificial intelligence and robotics and so on. Okay. Okay. So what do you see here? Let's use our imagination. What do we see here?
Duck.
What do we see here?
Duck.
Okay, Shiva, I think you spell incorrect. Be careful how you spell duck. Somebody spell it with an I, not you. Okay, yeah. Okay, yeah, thank you. Everybody's a duck. Lake, I like it. Yes, imagination. Lake.
Yeah,
Somebody said
it's
lake.
a
There's no right and
perception.
wrong here. Perception, yes, perception. Actually, it's just a few lines and a circle, but some people see rabbit, some people see duck, and some people say, what did they say? They say cat. And somebody saw lake. Okay. Let's try the next one. What do you see here? This is very interesting because if you
drop, it is drop.
People will UFO. Okay. Cannon. Okay, interesting. If you have seen the movie, you will know what it is. If you have not seen the movie, you have no clue what it is. I mean, you will think it's maybe like this, but which movie does this represent? I'm not sure in India this movie was popular or not. Yes, Star Wars. Yes, it's Star Wars. Can you remember the spaceship? The two spaceships? I forgot. These are two kind of spaceships in Star Wars.
Sorry, I don't.
Okay. I forgot. I used to have the toy of both of them, you know, when I was one of the Star Wars collectors collecting toys last time. I can't remember, Million Falcon or something, yeah. And then this one is the bad guy spaceship. Okay, let's try another one, huh? Okay, what is this? Everybody's thinking hard now. What is this? Dinosaur, two dinosaurs, okay. Clouds, okay. This one, slow down. The time, the message is coming in. Slow down a bit. Huh? Two birds. Remember, this is just
Two
opening our
persons
mouth.
back.
Duck. Aha, Marilyn knows. Marilyn, very fun. It's actually Donald Duck's face. Actually, I teach people how to draw Donald Duck from memory. But one of the things, this is how I start. Actually, this is Donald Duck's eyes. Okay. It's actually two eyes, and then it becomes Donald Duck's face. Very good. Okay, last one before we go get a bit more serious again. What is this? If you are in medicine, I don't know if there's anyone in medicine, you should know what this is. Two dancing girls.
Twins who are joined by head.
Pardon?
Two twins.
It's knee joints.
Knee joints, okay. Are you sure? It's some joint, but it's not necessarily a knee joint. Huh? This is actually, I actually traced, from memory, traced something that is a part of the body. Yes, it's true. Kidney. No, it's not kidney. It's very interesting. It is something that we already discussed. That we have already.
Kidneys?
No, did we discuss kidney? I can't remember. I don't think we discussed anything on kidney. Lungs, no. Something that is very close to your mouth. Very close to your mouth.
Esophagus.
Dental.
Raja is correct.
Tooth.
It's part of the brain. Yeah, it's part of the brain. It's the, if you actually see here, is the amygdala, is hippocampus on both sides, right? This is inside of the brain. It's the interior of the brain. Huh? So this is actually the brain, part of the brain. Looks sometimes people. So this is part of the. This is another way to teach medicine. You can actually show outline of different aspects and get students to guess what it is. This is just an example of just making class much more interesting instead of just showing the thing and say this is this. You actually get him to guess. Then you can guess what this is and this is and this is. Okay. 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 Let's have some more chat here. This is interesting. This is very important. We're talking about industry 3.0, 4.0, 5.0. So actually, I did this too. In Malaysia, they were talking about industry 4.0, education 4.0. So I drew a drawing because I think education should always be ahead of industry, not industry ahead of education. So for fun, I drew education 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 based on research. Okay. So I want to ask you, the question is, what is the common trend that you can see from industry 1.0 to 5.0? What is the common trend? And I think it's very important that we need to prepare students not for just industry 4.0. We need to actually prepare the industry 5.0 or whatever they want to call it, although it's just semantics, right? Human, movement, transportation, use of labor force, mechanism, technology. So I just give you a hint.
Customer satisfaction.
So if you notice this red stick figure here, what does this mean? This red stick figure here? Like a game, right? When you die, right? Hey, what does it mean? I would love to see how many comments this Zoom discussion. Okay, leadership, common only student teachers, progress. Okay, so if you see here, this is industry. Yeah? If you look closely, there's a lot of great answers here: labor, control, leadership, neutral, technology advancement. Reducing. I think Dr. Savish is actually seeing industry. You can see it was a lot of male or not male, human labor. And then as we go along, as the technology advances, you can see there are less humans involved in the process. And if you look at we are industry 4.0, we are at the stage which is very lucrative, is that we are training robots to do different things. Even if we have robots do a lot of activities, we still have a lot of humans coding, programming robots to do this and that. But as we go along in the future, 20, 30 years in future, we're going to see not only are robots doing most of the process in the factory, they're also having robots that artificial intelligence is actually programming the robots themselves. So even that job is going to become challenging for humans to do. And this is where we as industry, education industry, or I won't call education industry, is that we need to think about how are we going to prepare students for jobs that are going to happen in the future, that are going to be lost, don't exist. So this is very challenging. And that's where we're going to talk more about as we go into design thinking, is that there are certain things that are going to not change. That's always going to be there relevant for students. There are certain things that are going to change. And this is very important. Okay, I think it's very good. So let's look at, in my next drawing, I drew education 1.0, 2.0, 3.0, 4.0. So for fun, just to make it very simple, what can you have one word for education 5.0? If education 4.0 is about developing innovation skills, creative skills, what will be 5.0 in 1 or 2 words? There's no right and wrong here. Huh? Okay, so go to this automation. Huh?
I think technology, inclusive
Raja's interesting. Technology. Okay, technology. Okay, there's no right and wrong here. This is a discussion. That's why I put a question mark, is to create that discussion. How? Because 5.0 is what we should be preparing, especially in schools, what we should be preparing our students for. So what? Less people, more machines, coding, artificial intelligence. Okay, we are.
Yeah,
I think we're already in artificial intelligence.
Coding
Imagination,
is the next.
mechanized code. Next, okay,
Automation.
values, okay. But
Artificial
automation is already happening
intelligence.
in 4.0. Okay, artificial intelligence is already happening in 4.0. If you industry, education 4.0, industry 4.0, automation is already there. Innovation is already there. Creativity is, of course, it's going to become, you still need it, but what is the next step that we need to prepare our students for? The next step. I try to actually even draw it in my drawing to give a kind of sway you towards it. There's no right and wrong. This is my own, based on my research, what we need to prepare our students for the future. It's going to be key. The technology is there. The artificial is going to evolve. We know that already. Creativity is going to evolve. Lack of nature, smart machines like robots. Okay, all are great answers. Maybe they're correct. I don't know. But what I think, if you look down here, this is so important.
Emotional intelligence.
Is values. Okay, values. I'm not saying this should be values, but values have to be put in. Why? We already know it. We have global warming. We have technology destroying so much of nature. So we need to teach our students not just to innovate, not just to be creative, not just to code, not just to create. They must have this conscious that they're doing something, they're creating something at the same time, they're not destroying something. I think now we're a lot of technology is creating something, but they're destroying more than what they're creating. That's why we see so many problems in nature and so on. So we're moving towards to. So one of the words actually was there, and nobody has said it. I'm not saying that's the right word for 5.0, but it's called S. The first letter is S. Consciousness, correct? S.
Self-learning, spirituality.
Okay, spiritual. Okay. There. Marilyn, very, very fast. Sustainable development, sustainability. I think this is going to become, I'm not saying that's 5.0, but I'm just saying one of the words that is in 5.0 is sustainability. Yes. It's not just enough to be creative. It's not just about enough to create money and innovate. And you have to create an environment. I give an example. Like we have in Malaysia, we have one factory that dumped water, pollution into a river or a sea where they do the creating drinking water and water for the houses, and that got polluted, and then the whole state was affected for a few days
Recycling.
of water. Yeah, so this is very important. Yes, okay, recycling is one part. So sustainability is one thing. I'm not saying that's the 5.0, but that's one of the aspects in 5.0 is that we really need to develop students with a mindset that's not just enough to be creative, not enough to be innovative, not enough to, but it's also about that. Okay. Thank you very much. Great discussion. I really appreciate this. You're so interactive, all of you. So this is, before we take a break, we need a break now, this is the thing that where drawing can play a role in as a teacher, as a student, as an entrepreneur, and so on. Is drawing is like a fusion of art and science put together, and in the process you can develop critical thinking, creative thinking, inventive thinking, innovative thinking, collaborative thinking, and computational thinking. All these things can be if you apply drawing strategically, not just draw anything, but you're using it strategically, which I will, as we go along in the next 1 hour plus, we'll focus on that. So to sum up what we've discussed now, which is the first session, we have looked at, we have done some drawings, fine, but drawing is a very powerful tool for learning, and it can help you to improve your focus, it can improve your memory, it can improve your thinking, creative thinking, visual thinking, and so on. So it's a very powerful as a learning tool. It's also very powerful as a teaching facilitation tool because it allows you to connect and engage students. It allows you to simplify complexity and so on. And also hopefully in the process, you can inspire them to the next level of what they want to do. And also we talked about how drawing can be done for innovation. It's one of the most powerful tools to bring to life your imagination, your ideas, and also very fun is that it allows you to have fun in the process. I think you had a lot of fun drawing some of these things, and you loosen up a bit. So, especially when the thing we couldn't do today is because usually when I do workshops, we do these group drawings. So I bring you into a group of 5 to 10. I give you a big piece of paper, mahjong paper they call here, and I give you a lot of pens, marker pens, and you draw the future together and as a collaboration. So this is a very fun way to prepare and come up with greater ideas, brainstorming. Okay, so what we're going to do now is, before we go to visionary, we take a break. Can we take a 7-minute break? Is that okay?
Yeah, perfectly all right.